Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 204. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You drop a follow over there, you get notified when we go live, so you join in the fun and conversation with us as we record. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, wherever you're watching, listening, etc., if you could drop a follow, hit that sub button, whatever it is, it may seem small, but it does help the channel grow, and we would love and appreciate you for it. Today, we're talking a lot of games. We're going to open up with talking about Steam Next Fest, which as of recording, there's one more day? Yeah, one more day of this year, at least the February one. So I wanted to talk about the demos that I jumped into, my thoughts and experiences with those, and hopefully put some games on your guys' radar that maybe you didn't know about or stuff like that. So I will say, to open up, we did this topic last year, so I guess this is a kind of revisit, but not really, because it's not talking about the same games. But I did put a little bit more time into the demos this year. I had the opportunity to play, I think, 13 over on stream. So glad I was able to do that. Had some fun ones, had some ones that weren't bad, just some of the messaging or how they presented their demo, I guess, wasn't the best. So I wanted to talk about some highlights that I had played and give you guys some information there. So first one, it was a kind of simple one, very fun and cute though puzzle game called Cat Needs. Cat Needs, developed by Lejeune's Art, also published by them. I believe this is a solo dev, if I'm not mistaken. Seems like they've worked on a few other projects. But what this was, Cat Needs, excuse me, I keep putting a second S there. But all this was, it was essentially a puzzle game where you need to get the cats the appropriate stuff that they need. Maybe they need to sleep, maybe they need to have some food, maybe they need both, a combination. And you had to figure out how to get the cats to the appropriate areas, whether it's the food bowls, they had little cardboard boxes for where they were sleeping in, and you had to figure out how to navigate them all to their areas. Some cats can jump, some can't, and they're different heights. Very simple in concept, but it was an adorable game, and I enjoyed my time with it. I think they had a few levels that you could play there, but interested to see, what other cats they do add. I think they mentioned at the end of the demo they were adding 7 or 9 different cats in the end. I don't recall. But it was fun. Just one of those things you kind of, test your brain out with the puzzle stuff and have a cute little aesthetic to it. So enjoyed that. Also learning that it was a solo dev was very cool as well. Great color scheme to it as well. So that was the first one that stuck out to me. Then we had one that I learned, I believe, from the 6-1 Indie Showcase. I don't know if it was the last one they did or the previous one, but Anti-Paint. So Anti-Paint, definitely more chaotic than Cat Needs, but it was a roguelite paint shoot 'em up, something like that. So you're this little paint blob. You can have a different paint brushes that you can use to fend off the enemies, defeat them as you're going on. I think the two they had in the demo was there was a brush and then there was a roller that you could eventually unlock. And what you're doing is you're simply moving around this canvas using your roller or brush to defeat the different enemies that are approaching you. So you're navigating around. Every enemy that you defeat bursts out some paint, so you're kind of making this masterpiece as you're going around. And with the roguelite elements, there were certain things that you could get, whether it was a health upgrade or faster shooting or different abilities and specials that you could use to kind of do more of an area of effect attack. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time with it. I've been getting more into the roguelike genre these past couple of years. So this demo was a lot of fun. I think it ended, well, I don't know, I didn't reach the ending, but the last thing I did, you got to a boss fight. It was the Mona Lisa, but I think they had to flip it Lona Misa or something like that. But you had to fight that. And yeah, just fun, chaotic fun. kind of like, old asteroids where you're navigating everything with those elements of the roguelite with the power-ups and stuff between stages. So I had a lot of fun with that. Definitely looking forward to that. That was developed by Vilius Parekis, also published by them. Apparently coming out this year. It looks like this is their first project. Yes. So interested to see when that comes out. Yeah, it just says this year, so unfortunately no specifics. I believe Cat Needs, they didn't have a set date either. But I had a lot of fun with this one. Like I said, very simple in terms of what you were doing, but fun, silly, cheeky. Yes. Next one that stuck out to me was Haunty. Haunty, I think, is another one. I don't know if I saw this on 6-1. I think this was maybe a Summer Games Fest or something similar. But Haunty seems like it's going to be a very emotional journey, and they hit you in the feels with this demo as well. Oh, they're broadcasting right now. I don't need to be watching that. But the story of Haunty, you're this little wisp. You're a person who's died. You want to learn more about your past, and you run into this angel at one point who tries to take you up to heaven, the afterlife. I'm not really sure. But unfortunately, you can't continue the journey with her. You kind of get chained down and brought back down. But the game is twin-stick shooter, and you're just going around these levels collecting, I think it was little star pieces. And what those star pieces allow you to do is see more of your past, who you actually were, and learn more about that. And I guess that is your main journey, is just seeing who you really were and probably eventually going up to heaven and moving on. This was developed by Moonloop Games and published by Firestoke. This one's coming out Q2 2024. I think this one's also coming to multiple platforms. But yeah, this game, like I said, it's going to hit in the feels. Even with the demo, something we'd seen from the trailer with that moment of ascension just got really sad that we were chained down and not able to go anywhere. Art style is great. The Wisp, your main character, Haunty, her little hood kind of like flickers around. Simple stuff, but looks really, really great. It's one of those things, like, it looks simple, but knowing how much work goes into it to make it look this good and seamless, kudos to them. Very excited for this one. I would, a lot of people are comparing this to, like, Agree, how it's going to hit you in the feels with that. I could definitely see that. So intrigued to go on this journey with the Haunty team when this does eventually come out. Looks like a lot of fun. Another one where the artwork looks great. A lot of dark tones. I think they kind of give you this general path on levels that you can take. But if you go off that path, because you have that freedom to do so, you'll kind of get these like demon characters that are kind of haunting you. So you have to try and avoid that. But also a lot of cute companions that you can meet along the way. And they have this cool puzzle aspect where as the ghost, you can haunt different things. And you can either gather resources that way, extra ones that you might not have found regularly, or you can solve different puzzles with them, whether it's lighting up a path or opening a door or whatever it may be. I didn't do too much of that outside of what was necessary, but it seems like you do have that freedom to jump in between objects whenever you would like to get those abilities. So excited to jump into this, see what it's about. All right, next. If you want chaos in your games and you like, just some great ass music and rushing down like racetracks and stuff like that, this one I had no idea about until I tried it out. This one was one of the brand new ones for me, but Crash Course Builder. First things first. Awesome soundtrack. It's like every level that you got into is a new track, but they had fantastic music. All the levels are really short. The basic concept of this game is you're a crash test dummy, and you are trying to race through this course where there's jump pads, spikes, explosives, there's holes in the wall, there's different hammers that are trying to like smash you and stuff. And you have to react quick of switching in between these lanes. to try and get to the end. All the levels are relatively short, but it's just fun chaos of high speed, switching through, it's kind of rhythm based. I don't know if it has that like a Guitar Hero or Hellsinger, Metal Hellsinger, stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun, even though, you do crash from time to time, are going to crash often trying to figure out the puzzles and where you need to go, what the ideal pathing is. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, with the levels being so short, you get that sense of accomplishment, and it's not this long, arduous task of, gotta keep dying here, and I have so much farther to go. It's usually switch it up just a little bit here and there, and you'll be able to pass. This is developed and published by Wombat Brawler. It says it's going to be 2024. It also has fun other aspects to it that they didn't have available in the demo, to my knowledge, but they have a level editor. So if you wanted to make your own, you could. And I also think this is multiplayer, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if they have any info on that. A lot of unlockables too, so you can customize your little racer, crash course dummy dude. I'm not seeing it, but they do have like a friend list, so I don't know if that's just because of like, people's courses that you really, really enjoy or whatnot, or maybe time trials. Maybe that's the multiplayer aspect of it. But yeah, just fun chaos, zipping around. You really need some fast reflexes at points, but exciting game to jump into, and it was a nice surprise. All right, let's talk about #Blood. #Blood was one I was anticipating and very excited for. So if you guys like Saturday cartoons, this one looks just like a cartoon, just like your Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon program. The art style looks insane, and going from cutscenes to gameplay is great. You're a little girl trying to save your friends and fight off the vampire apocalypse, survive the horrors of freshman field hockey practice and Blood, a delightfully zany animated dungeon crawler that blurs the line between action RPGs and hyperkinetic 90s cartoons. So the demo that we were playing, we got, I think it was 3 areas. You got like your neighborhood, your school, and then the basement of the school, that kind of like introductory area of the game, what you're going to be setting up the premise, all that stuff. And it was awesome. The demo went on for a while, but it was not in a bad way. It was very entertaining. The characters are all zany. They got their own personalities. There's an element of like social media in there, so that's how you get your mission quests, and you can see the different reaction between the characters. I'm excited to jump into this farther. They had, at least in this demo, you could punch, and you could use like your field hockey stick towards the end. I'm curious if there will be more weapons that you can use, and I'm curious to see what the story is, like how it's going to evolve. You initially were just trying to fit in and help a bake sale, I believe it is, and you're like, oh, my mom's got a cookbook, and it turns out to be like this Necronomicon, or it's like this spooky book. You never see the mom. You interact with the dad a few times, so I'm curious if she's a vampire or how this is going to work out, dealing with the vampires that are going on. And I'm not sure if like you woke them up or if they were already around. I don't know. Seems fun. Seems chaotic in the best way possible. And like I said, the art style itself is just insane. It's developed by Exit 73 Studios and published by Humble Games. Apparently also Exit 73 somewhat local, so good for them. This is their first project. I guess they've done a lot of support on other stuff. But yeah, 2024 for this one as well. And yeah, we'll just have to see. That's the only thing about these demos that's like, downside. Most of them don't have dates, so we'll have to see. Hopefully, best of luck to all these studios that, they can hit their projected time and don't hit any snags. But yeah. Let's talk about Kill a Million Rats. Another one that kind of hit me out of nowhere. Did not expect. This is a mixture of real-time strategy, RTS, and I guess, roguelite? Yeah. Developed by Nerd Productions and published by Surefire Games. So picture old Warcraft, StarCraft, stuff like that, with an art style of Don't Starve-ish, and waves upon waves of enemies. So what you're doing is you're like this forest spirit that's helping these villagers that unfortunately has been overrun by these rats that have wiped their villages, and they're just trying to rebuild, be safe, and live their happy lives. You come here and you are their protector. You help them build and establish a village, similar to, like I said, Warcraft, where you get like a blacksmith and a lumber yard and different resource buildings that you can do. You can also do defensive towers. You do that for a certain amount of turns. As the enemies are prepping, they let you know, like, hey, you're going to have an attack in 3 days or whatever it is. You build up these bases, build up your forces with these little cute little animal guys. And then when the timer runs out, you go into battle. You get like 3 waves of either just rats, or as we progress, we got different like rats with armor, and then I think there was some bugs that were attacking us that had different elemental and spell attacks. They'll just rush you in these waves as you and your little people are defending the village. I had an absolute blast with it. The turn-based stuff was a little confusing. I don't know if it was just because of the tutorial where it's like, hey, build this building. It didn't really show what my freedoms were in those turns. If like I can build multiple buildings or have the option to do that. And like I said, I'm sure it's just because it was the demo, like, hey, lay this out, lay this out, lay this out. But I'm interested to see once the full release comes out what my freedom of building this village is, what tools I can pick, obviously what works, what doesn't work. The abilities they did give us after each turn to help out like your stats and your attacks, thought those were all good, and they were compelling enough where it was a tough decision of like, which way do I really want to go? It wasn't like a clear path of like, those suck. So yeah, it was a fun one to jump into. Like I said, one I was not expecting or like planning to play ahead of time. So it was just a fun surprise. This one, release date to be announced. So it seems like this one may be a little bit farther out. This one might also be a solo dev. I'm not mistaken. Seems like they've worked on a bunch of other projects. Yeah, they've been developing, if this is to be believed. I don't know if this is just like a search. No, it's searching the developer. 2015, 2014. Yeah, 2014 seems to be their earliest stuff. So yeah, cool. Looking forward to it. That one I'll definitely be heavily anticipating. Angerfoot. Angerfoot was a quick one that I jumped into towards the end of the stream, I believe on the second day. But this is by, or it's at least published by Devolver. Let's see who it's developed by. Free Lives. So, do you like fast pace? Do you like goofiness? Well, this one's for you. So this is a quick, fast-paced, first-person shooter where you are just trying to blast through these levels, literally, and kick your way to the end. The demo that we got to play, we're in this house just clearing levels. You get to kick people, you get a gun, and I would kind of compare it to like a Neon White minus the card aesthetic, but fast-paced and trying to get through it quickly as fast as you can. That is what I would like in this gameplay too, and it's a lot of fun. I will say, loud music. Obviously, I could change that. A lot of flashing lights. Not a good thing to play when you have a headache, because that certainly did not help. But I did have a lot of fun with it. I'm curious if there's a story to this, or if it's just goofiness for goofiness sake. But yeah, this one I've seen for a while, just because of the Devolver backing. They obviously have a little bit more support there, so I'm curious to see how this comes out. The developers also worked on Broforce, Genital Jousting, and I guess Terra Nil. So they got some good games in their library as well that they've worked on. Release date also says 2024. So hopefully we'll get some more lockdown, more specific details, I guess, as we go forward. But yeah, very fun. Very fun. Last one I'm going to talk about very briefly. If you guys have checked over on YouTube, we had a preview build for Deathbound, which the demo was also available for Steam Next Fest. So this was a Souls-like action RPG. I had a great time with it. Obviously, code provided by Vicarious and Trial Forge. But I had a great time playing this. I'm not big into the Souls-like genre. I like them in terms of their aesthetic and like their visuals, but I'm not great at them. I kind of get part of the way through, and then, oh boy, I'm getting my butt kicked. Granted, this was a demo. We'll have to see once the full project comes out, but I never felt or never got to a point of frustration with this game. Everything felt, if it didn't go my way, it felt like understandable and earned. Earned sounds weird. But the world that they have in here is kind of this mix of medieval and futuristic, like, I guess you could call it cyberpunky. But it was a cool melding of worlds, and I think the most interesting aspect of the gameplay is you have multiple heroes that you're playing as. It's not just one hero that you're diving into and, hacking and slashing your way through the enemies here. You get to jump in between. I think total they're going to have 7. No, I think it was more than that. But you get a team of 4 that you can jump between, and I think they had sync attacks is what they called, where you can morph in between the 4 heroes. So every hero has their own stamina and health, which is essentially linked. So the higher your health, the more stamina you get, lower. If you get low at any point with any hero and you want to swap, you can either just do it through a button command, or you can do it through these sync attacks where you morph at the same time as you're doing the attacks to punish your enemies. And there's different, they have like different classes similar to D&D. Like there's a rogue thief, there's a knight that has a big like 2-handed hammer, there's one with a sword and shield. I had a mage, I think I had a spear woman at one point. And that swapping in between is just really cool, especially how you can do it, whether it's the attack or even in an evasion. It doesn't feel like panic mode at times. It feels like you have a little bit more control of like, okay, I can do this now. I don't have to back away from my opponent, hope and pray that they don't attack me while I'm switching. You could do it in the middle of the fight, and allows you to stay in it instead of just run away and panic as things are going on. So really enjoyed Deathbound. Another one I'm looking forward to. If you want to see more footage of it, like I said, I do have the YouTube video up there. Once again, code provided by Trial Forge Studio and Vicarious PR for this one. But yeah, another one I was not anticipating and definitely got my attention with it, especially being a genre that's not always been my cup of tea in terms of my success rate. But this one looks fun and looks more inviting to those who want to know or get into it without, jumping into the more mainstream ones and then ripping your hair out. So yeah, those were some of the demos that I played for Next Fest. I did play a few more, but those are the ones that definitely stood out to me. If you're watching the live recording, you still have till tomorrow, I believe, to play the Steam Next Fest demos. But if you missed this year's, no worries. I think they have two a year or something like that. So if you see those come around, I definitely recommend you jumping into those. Give it a shot, give it a try, see what you like. There's a lot of demos. I think I overheard 6-1 talking, saying they had like 500 demos. That could be wrong, but there was a lot. There's a lot out there, a lot of different genres as well, so you're not locked into like, oh, they're all just, one certain type of game. A lot of different stuff for you to try out and play. And anything that you do like, just make sure you wish list them. That does help those studios, those developers get into the eyes of the publishers, or at least when they go to them, be like, hey, we have some traction in our game. This is how many people are interested in it, and try and help those guys out, further their project and development. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Definitely a lot of fun with it. So